Here she is, Kelly.
Hey,
You're
Chia.
on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're on. We got Don here. We got a bunch more other people here. Everybody's probably super excited to learn about solar. And I figure, you know what? Since you've been helping me with all my solar needs for these past couple of years, you're the perfect candidate to come on today's show because I guess so many people ask me all the time about solar and I don't know much about it. I own it, but then like you're the person that they should be asking. So I'm glad you're on the live stream today. Hopefully you could share some of your knowledge with the Chi fams. That's what I call them, okay? All the
I know.
subscribers.
That's awesome. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, so right now there's like about 4 person on. Probably more people might come on later. We just got Charles Skinner's on right now. What's going on, Charles? Oh yeah, he was on the live stream last week. What's up, Charles? So yeah. But okay, without further ado, why don't you just do a quick introduction? Who you are, how long you been in the business, and everything. The floor is yours, Kelly.
Very cool. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name's Kelly Lombardo. I work with an amazing solar company called Sunrun. They're headquartered in San Francisco, but they're all over the country in 24 states. I'm a sales consultant with them, so I go out and I meet homeowners just like Chia and his family. And I've been doing it for just about 5.5 years.
Oh man, sounds good. Five
Yep.
5 years only. Like me. That's how long I've been in the real estate
Yep.
industry. So we started at the same time, 2016.
Pretty much, yeah. I hit right at the beginning of the year. I hit 5 years. And in this industry, that's a long time.
That's true. It is. Because
Yep.
believe me, I don't know about the data in Sunrun or Solar Consultant, but for agents, 87% of new agents quit within the first year.
Really?
That's the data.
Yeah, it's not that people leave the solar industry often. It's that s- I guess in the past at least they've moved around. But I've only ever been at Sunrun and it's a good place to be.
Well, when you do move, make sure you stay in touch.
Of course. I'm also not moving.
Good. Good. Okay, but just the normal deal, like I before the live streams on Fridays, I normally put out a poll or like questionnaires from the Chichi fan members or in the community, and I think I sent you a few of the questions. So we'll probably answer those first. But for those of you guys that are joining us on the live stream right now, if you guys have questions currently, you guys want us to answer them, whether it's real estate or solar, whatever we could add answer, put them on the live chat so that way I'll see it. I'm scanning through it right now, so just go on the live chat and yeah, and again, while you're at it, make sure you hit that like button. Okay, it helps me out a lot. So let me go on to the first question. Okay, just from the community. Okay, how was your day so far, Kelly?
My day's good. My day's good. Fridays are always fun, but I work weekends, kind of just like you, but Fridays are good. Yep.
I know I tell people I work 7 days, but it's not physically draining, it's just mentally draining, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like when you stop, then you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was a long day, but
Yeah. Uh,
yeah,
The other
no,
day I was
it's
telling
it's
one of my
good. It's
friend. The other day I was
yeah.
telling my friend, I was like, yeah, every time whenever I get at least 2 hour break, man, I'm in heaven. That's awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty similar. We don't work a straight like 9 hours in a row.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely fun. Every day can be very different.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
But okay, so let me go on to the first question from the community. This one is from Georgina Chain. She's a regular, believe it or not. Her question was, um, she would like to know tax benefits. So she asked 3 questions. So we'll just probably cover tax benefits or government incentives when getting solar. Maybe you could talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, great question, and a lot of homeowners ask. So, there's a couple of main ways that people can go solar. One being that they can purchase a system. So, they either have the cash or the funds set aside for this, take out a home equity line, or be willing to take out a loan. And so the biggest benefit of owning the system is that you can apply for the federal tax credit. It used to be 30, it has dropped to 26, but that's around for another year and
30,000?
a half. No, 30. It was 30%. Now it's
Oh,
26%. Yep. Yep, and the biggest thing I always remind people is one, this is when I have to say I'm not a CPA, I'm not a professional accountant. So yes, so there's that caveat. But typically, how it works is it's all based on your tax liability, and everyone's situation is a little bit different. Typically, how it works is as long as you're paying enough in federal income tax, you typically can take it. If you can't take the whole amount in the first year, you have a couple years to take it. But I always tell people, if you have any questions, please talk to a professional.
got it. Now,
Yep.
what about return on investment?
Yeah, so with ownership, if you're looking to get the absolute most return on your investment, it's definitely going to be through ownership, especially because of the tax credit. Basically, you are buying, a little power plant, a little solar plant that you're putting on your roof. And once it's paid off, it's yours. And all the power that it's going to produce for the next 20, 30 years, that's all for you and your home to use. And if for any reason you're not using it, you're going to get a credit from the utility. So the typical payback period is anywhere between 6 and 10 years. It does depend on how large the system is and if you're incorporating battery backup and battery storage. But it's a great way to invest, especially with the 26% tax credit.
Got it.
Yep.
Don Foley from the live chat said, "How do you know how many panels you need to order? Like, do you use past electric bills, baselines of your size and order?"
Yeah, so in a perfect situation, we would have that family in that house for at least 12 months. Throughout the different seasons, your solar system is going to be producing different amounts of power. So if we know exactly how much electricity that family is going to require each year, basically we can then turn that into how many solar panels they would need if we're looking to offset a certain amount. And most people, like, we can offset 100% with solar. That's typically what the goal is, only because if you can get everything from solar, that's usually the most beneficial for homeowners. Now,
Th-
and if for any, oh, go ahead.
no, no, go.
If for any reason, you are newer to the home, don't get me wrong, that's okay too. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the square footage. We're going to ask, we're really going to ask you a bunch of questions. Obviously, how big is the family? Is everyone going to be there? Is everyone going to leave, Monday through Friday, go to work and school? Is there going to be a pool, a hot tub, electric vehicles, stuff like that? So we can get a pretty accurate amount. The great news, and a lot of times people don't understand this, is 99% of the time, as long as there's roof space left, we can actually add on down the road. So it's not like you're completely stuck. We can always, add on if you want to get that 100%.
Now, even when you have solar panels, that's enough to cover 100% of the utility bills, you still have to pay something to SMUD. I'm saying this because I have solar, so there's no getting around that.
That's true, yes. So every state treats solar differently, and then every utility within that state also kind of has its own rules. And so in California, there's always going to be basically it's a connection fee. So in SMUD right now, it's $22 a month. In PG&E, it's about 10. So basically, that means even if you get all of your electricity from your solar panels, you will always be paying that connection fee. Excuse me, because when people go solar, you will always be connected to the grid. Just by going solar, even with batteries, you're not completely, going off grid. And as a homeowner in a residential area, you always want to be connected.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, true. You never know, but as of right now, you will always be connected.
Okay, same person, Don Foley. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name right, Don. Is it better to own or lease? I think you answered that a little bit earlier.
That's also a really good question. And to be honest with you, there's pros to both. Again, going to ownership, if you're looking to maximize the most out of your investment, it is going to be through ownership, definitely. But there's a lot of people, especially after last year, and it affected people very differently. Some people can't or don't want to make a big investment in this. They want the benefits of solar without, putting a lot into it. So on the flip side of ownership, we also have something called a power agreement. Some people mix it up with a solar lease, but it's actually two different things. So I'm going to focus on the solar power agreement. And that's a great option for people who don't want to make the investment or can't. There are some people who can't take advantage of the tax credit. Retired people or people who are self-employed because of their tax situation. So in that case, a power agreement is actually a great option. It's zero down. There's literally no deposit. What you're doing is you're not paying for the installation or the equipment. All you're doing is you're making a commitment to make a monthly payment for the solar power. And in California, that's just going to be at a less expensive rate than what PG&E and SMUD are charging. So for a lot of people, it's great. It's a way that you save money without having to make a big investment. I call it solar with none of the responsibility.
Before we move forward to the next, what was that sound?
That's going to be a dog trying to dig his way through his dog bed, and I'm so sorry. That's
It's
one thing that I
okay.
did not take away. so
That's
um,
fine. That's. Did you need to go and make sure he's
no,
comfy?
no, absolutely not. He has clearly gotten bored with hearing my voice, so he has left the room.
He's like, she's ignoring me.
I'm
Screw
so
her.
sorry. Yes, I took up all the squeaky toys and everything, so I'm really sorry, guys.
No worries.
I was
Okay.
trying to
Well,
look for
hope
something to like throw at him.
I
Um,
noticed. I saw your eyeballs roll. I'm like, uh-oh.
like really. but
No
yes,
worries. No worries.
but yes, for a power agreement, it's everyone has to pay their electric bill every month. So if we can put solar on the roof and you can get your electricity through that solar and it's a cheaper bill, for a lot of people that is still very beneficial. So at Sunrun, we offer both. And we can talk about both. We educate the homeowners to really make sure that they get into the right program for them.
So I always tell my clients that are asking me, is it better to rent or own solar? I normally tell them it depends, right? Because
Depends.
some investors prefer to just lease it because they might not want to be the one to pay for it. So then they lease it, they put it on
Yep.
their rental, and then the tenants pay for it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So, I work with a lot of people who, put solar on their rentals or their investment properties. There's a few different ways that landlords can handle the solar piece.
Mm,
They can either add it into the monthly rent. Most tenants, when they move in, the utilities go in their name.
right.
So the solar payment, and I'm only speaking for Sunrun because that's where I am. That's also all I know. But the payments can go in anyone's name. So, um, but what I found for landlords is that they have found that not only do they get a better quality of tenant, but their tenants stay. And if when I used to rent, if my landlord said, "Hey, do you want a cheaper electricity bill through solar?" I mean, I would love that. So, and a lot of people say it can add value to the property. So, a lot of landlords, because it's nothing out of pocket, they're happy to do it.
Got it. Okay, next question from Charles. Charles says, after the installation of a lease or own system, who does the maintenance on the panels?
Yep, also a good question. So, with ownership, very much like when you buy a car, you'll get your manufacturer's warranties. And then anything outside of that down the road, there will be a little bit of maintenance depending on what kind of equipment you choose. It may have to be replaced. Nothing needs to be done for, the first 10 years. Hold on one sec.
No, no worries. See, people, this is how you guys know we're live.
I would just lock him out and close the door, but he's just going to tap on the door.
That's fine.
So yeah.
You should just bring him
So
onto
with
the
me,
camera.
oh my gosh, no, he is actually pretty photogenic. So with ownership, I do tell people there is a little bit of maintenance. The biggest thing we saw last year is with the wildfires. And, even if they weren't, in your area, we all saw a lot of ash. I'm throwing stuff at him now. That's enough. That's enough. Thank you. Thank you. So, if you see that there's dust or film on them, I do recommend that you hose them off. You can also power wash them. If they're on a second story or you're like me and you have no interest getting on the roof, I know most window washing companies will now do solar as well. So if you ever do see a film, I highly recommend that you get them clean because that is going to affect your production.
Mm.
That's ownership. Now with a power agreement, because the homeowner is not going to own it, there's some perks to that. Don't get me wrong. So at Sunrun, we're going to actively monitor the system, and we do that on a daily basis. And so when I said before, solar was none of the responsibility. You just live your life, and basically Sunrun, we're going to watch that system and make sure it's doing what it needs to be doing. If we detect that something is not working the way that it should, we're going to call up that homeowner and say, something's going wrong or something's not right. And so remotely, we can try to do some things to see what's going on. And then, of course, if we have to get someone out there, we can do that as well. Sunrun, we're never actively going to come out and wash the panels. But what we do, which most companies do not do, is we provide customers a performance guarantee with their power agreement. So, we really are monitoring the systems. And if for any reason there needs to be a repair or something needs to be replaced, we're actually going to do it because if that system is not producing according to our contract, Sunrun will actually refund the homeowner. So, we're going to make sure that it's doing what it's doing. But either way, if you have a system and you see some dust or some ash, by all means, I would definitely hose it off if you can.
So you said that it comes with a warranty up to 10 years.
So it depends on the equipment that you choose. But the lowest warranty, which may be on a battery or a special type of inverter, is 10 years, and that's just through ownership. With a power agreement, it's a bumper to bumper coverage for 25 years. So any repairs, replacements that are needed within that 25 years, that's 100% going to be taken care of by Sunrun. So again, basically homeowners, you're just paying a lower monthly bill for the solar power. That's it. That's it. And
That's
surprisingly,
awesome.
so Sunrun, we just hit over 550,000 systems nationwide, which we're really, really proud of. About 80% of our customers choose a power agreement.
Oh, you
Um,
answered one of the questions from the comments.
oh.
80%.
Yeah, about 80%. We offer both as a sales consultant too. I have no incentive to steer people towards one way or the other. Again, I'm an educator. I'm there to really help guide homeowners into making the best decision for what their goals are and what their situation is. But about 80% do choose a power agreement. Yep.
When somebody wants to buy, this is a question from Beck Cat. Hopefully I pronounced it right, but they're saying how much does it cost if they choose to decide to own it?
Yeah, so a lot of people do say just how much, how much. Everything that we do at Sunrun is completely customized. And it's all going to be customized to that family, that home. So it's going to be based on that family and what their needs are and how much electricity they're using. But of course, it's also going to be the structural stuff, like how much roof space do they have? What direction is it facing? Is there a lot of shade on the roof and stuff like that? So there's definitely a lot of factors that come in. A house that's perfectly in the sun all day long, and a family, say it's one person that really doesn't use much, that system is going to be way less than a family with three generations, a pool, an electric vehicle, so I try to tell people, don't count panels and compare yourself to your friends and your family. Solar, everything is going to be, I know it's hard, but everything is going to be completely based on what you need in your home. But
That's
but
true.
to make it short, Becca, we're talking anywhere between, on the low end, 10 to 15,000 to systems that can get as high, to be honest with you, 65, 70, 80 grand. It really depends on the number of panels. And now, of course, we can add in multiple batteries for, extra peace of mind with backup and storage.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, one. So this one's from the community. One chup chuparita. That's the name.
Okay.
If buying a new home, because a lot of new homes now come with solar,
Yep.
since 2020, I believe, right?
Correct.
Um, can you pay to get rid of them, and how much are they? You kind of covered the price, but I think it also varies from company to company, right?
It does, absolutely. So, yeah, so starting last year in California, the majority of all new construction has to come with solar. Um, I love that. I love that it's becoming just a feature of a home rather than an add-on.
Yeah.
Some of the times though, builders, they're putting 6 panels, 8 panels, 10 panels, and while that's awesome, for a lot of homes, a lot of families, that's not nearly as much as they need. So to answer the question, the answer is sometimes you can get rid of it. Usually there is a cost to that. Most times, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look into adding on. And I can't speak for other companies, but Sunrun, even if we did not do the first set of panels, we can add on to another company's.
Mm,
So for that person, if you are in that situation and you want to look into just what's going on with your system, or if it makes sense to add on, feel free through Chia, get my information. I'm more than happy to kind of walk you through the different options.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question is from Don Julio again. Appreciate all the questions, Don. How often does technology change? Will I have to update equipment, and how often?
Yes, I love this question. So, solar panels, I always say they're the opposite of these guys, the cell phone, where every 6 months something bigger, better, faster, lighter comes. Solar technology does not move that way. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the industry, batteries and tiles and stuff like that. A traditional solar panel is still your most efficient option. And they've been around for decades, I think the 40s and the 50s. And panels, we typically say the lifespan is, 20 to 25 years. I meet people all the time and they're like, hey, my parents have had solar since the 70s, since the 80s. And I always ask, is it still working? And most of the time it is. So, what typically happens with a solar panel is that every year they may become more efficient. And so what that means is where, this year you may need 20 panels to hit 100% of your energy offset. Maybe in 5 years you can get away with 15. So it's not a big, big jump. And because panels are so efficient with their technology, the high end panels, which is what a lot of companies use. We, of course, at Sunrun use the same. After 25 years, you're still looking at a solid 90% efficiency. Which is fantastic.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So Becca uh commented, "What about homes with HOA?" So I just sold a new build, and it was a
Mhm.
condo, and then they had solar. How does that work out? Does the HOA actually they're the one paying for the solar? How does that work?
So HOAs, they're just another step. And then I'm going to get to condos in a minute, but just for single family residences, an HOA, they can't deny someone from putting solar on the roof. What typically most of them want you to do is fill out an application. They may want a blueprint of where all the panels are going to go, and just to get it on record that that's a solar home. And that's something that we help facilitate, but usually it's just an application. There might be a $50 fee or something like that, but it's typically not a big deal. Condos are a little bit different. With condos, it all comes down to who owns the roof. So, for some condos, And yeah, you know this, Chia. For some condos, the homeowner owns the roof. They're responsible for the roof. If that's the case, it's very simple. We just treat it like a single family residence. If the association owns the roof, it's a little bit different. A lot of times they may say no. A lot of times they may say, sure, go ahead and do it. So it's kind of played by ear situation with condos. But if the homeowner owns the roof, then they can do what they want with it.
And the condo that I sold, the association owns the roof, and that
Mhm.
those new condos come with solar, so it would still
Okay.
work in the same way then.
Yeah, absolutely. So with new construction, the system can still be either purchased, like it comes free and clear with the home, or some builders are doing power agreements or leases. So I believe most of them are doing purchases. So it does depend on what kind of agreement or contract was put on it. But yeah, in
Yeah.
your situation, it sounds like it was purchased and it came with the condo.
Yep, that is the case. Association bought the solar, and then the client purchased the condo as a new build, and then they oversee it, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, next question then, huh? Okay. This one is from Mina. Mina says pros and cons to leasing and pros and cons to owning. I know there's pros and cons to everything, so what would you say pros and cons of getting solar is?
Yeah, and also a very good question. So, again, pro with ownership is, I kind of always go back to the car situation, but, once you pay off your car, it's yours. So, I have a car, it's almost 10 years old, it's paid for. So, my mileage, that's just mine. It's kind of like, free miles. So once the system is paid off, all that for, solar power that it's creating is yours to use, or you'll get credited from the utility. I do always set the expectation, though, that again, anything else, down the road, whether you're going to need to replace the battery or the inverter, down the road, there may be a little bit of maintenance. So I always like to make that aware that it is an investment, but you will have to upkeep, anything outside of the manufacturer's warranties. With that said, there's not too much that can go wrong with solar, so it's not like you're taking on a huge issue. Um, and then of course the biggest pro is going to be that you can apply for that 26% tax credit, and that's huge. Um, on the flip side, with a power agreement, pro is you're getting a less expensive electric bill. Again, it's a bill that every homeowner has to pay every month, whether you want to or not. Solar is just a way to lower that. It's also a great way to lock yourself into a fixed rate. So I know for a lot of people in California, we're getting into summer months, and I've turned on my air, once or twice already. And you know that getting into summer, and even August, September, October sometimes, your bills can really, really fluctuate. And for a lot of people, they double, they triple. And so with solar, it's a great way so that every month throughout the year exactly what your electricity is going to cost with solar so that you can budget for other things. So that's a huge pro. The fact that Sunrun is going to take care, of any repairs or replacements, we're going to actively monitor it. That's a ton of peace of mind for people. So it really comes down again to, we ask a lot of questions. What is most important to you? If people want to invest in this, that's awesome. It's through ownership. If people just want to lower their bill and have someone else take care of it, that's going to be through a power agreement. So that's why I love that Sunrun offers both, because a lot of companies, it's really one or the other.
No, that's awesome. So
Yep.
Becca said, would I still get a bill from SMUD or solar or only
Yes.
solar?
So when someone goes solar, they're always going to be connected to the local utility. And the reason being is that, any extra solar that your system makes, it will always first go to the house. But it's more than what you need at that time, it's going to automatically go back to the utility and they're going to give you credits. And those credits you can pull back at later times, usually on rainy days and cloudy days and at nighttime. So you want to be connected, to the utility. Um, um, and then, yes, so with billing, you will always get two bills. And so you'll always get your Sunrun statement, and you can go into your Sunrun account and you can see everything. And then you'll get a statement every month, just like you're doing right now. And the reason being is that, some months your system is going to overproduce. That's most likely going to be in the spring and the fall when the days are long, but you're not really using that air yet. In the wintertime, there's a good chance that your solar may underproduce. And that's because the days are short and it's rainy and it's cloudy, but the, the overproduction in the spring and the fall, that is going to offset any underproduction in the wintertime. So, again, the goal being to hit 100% offset or as close to 100% as you can. That's what we always aim for. But again, you're always going to get that bill. So you can just see how you're doing for the year. And that, so there's not going to be any surprises. And then my goal as a sales consultant is to always give the homeowner enough panels so that at the end of every year or every billing cycle for solar, that basically you're going to be at net zero, because I want you to be getting all of your electricity from solar, just because the benefits from solar are much greater than old school electricity.
I'll
And that
share
was
my
and that was wordy. Yeah, that was wordy. So I hope that made sense. Please reach out if you have any other questions on how it works.
well, and I also don't delete these live streams, so they can always rewatch and rewind. But I'll
Awesome.
share my experience, as a solar, as a person that leases that's a power agreement through Sunrun. I'll share my experience so that way you guys can kind of get an idea. So my bill used to always fluctuate a lot with SMUD alone before solar. And once I went solar, I received, of course, two bills, one from SMUD and one from a Sunrun. And the Sunrun bill was a constant fixed payment, um, because that was what I got quoted by Kelly a couple years ago. So I love that part. And what I like about the solar is that some days my panels will produce more kilowatts and I will consume less. So my question was always, what happens to the kilowatts that I overproduced? I didn't use it all. And I don't have a battery, so it doesn't get stored. So what happens? And what I loved about solar was that those extra kilowatts get sold to SMUD, and
Mhm.
SMUD uses it to kind of sell to the people that don't have solar. And what happens is the next month, let's say my roof produced 100 kilowatts. I know that's not the number, but it's just for easy math purposes here. Let's say it produces 100 kilowatts and I used up 120. The extra 20 might have been a credit from SMUD because I gave them some extra overages from my previous months.
Yep.
So that's what I love so much about the solar. When I saw that, I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. How, like, some days I won't be home. Maybe for that week, I went on vacation and nothing was turned on in my house, but it was still producing. S- SMUD would take the overages and sell it off,
Hmm.
right? And then credit me back on the next month that I did go over. Am I wrong or am I right?
No, you're right. Yep, that's exactly right. So typically, utilities in California are gonna look at you over a 12-month cycle. And again, any debits or credits are gonna roll over month, kind of like an old school cell phone plan. And then at the end of every 12-month period, you're gonna do what they call a true up, or it's like a settle up. And basically, if you stayed within what your solar has produced, then you're not going to owe anything. If two people moved in and you got a hot tub and an electric vehicle and you used more than what your solar produced, that's okay. You just needed more from SMUD in this example, so you would pay them for it and then you start another year. But yes, anything that you produce that you don't use, it's going to go back. You're going to get credits to use later. Now with everything that PG&E is doing, and even SMUD a little bit, especially too with time of use where your rates fluctuate depending on the time of day. So many more people are just turning to battery backup and battery storage, which is going to do two things. If the power goes out for any reason, within 30 seconds, the breakers that you've selected are automatically going to kick back on. So a lot of people choose what I call the essentials. It's like the fridge, the freezer, if you have a backup in the garage, some lights, some fans, maybe the TV, the Wi-Fi, stuff like that. Things to be comfortable while the power was out. And then the way that it works is even if the power is out for days on end, as long as the sun is coming up, that sun is going to hit the solar panels, and your panels are always going to refill the battery. So your battery is constantly being refilled by your solar panels. And then the second benefit of the battery is for SMUD, for example, between 5 and 8 p.m., our rates are super expensive, especially in the summertime. It's the hottest part of the day. It's also when demand is highest. Everyone is getting home from work or school, and we're all asking for electricity at the same time. So with the battery, if for any reason your solar panels are not giving you everything that you need at that time, you can actually pull from the battery. And so the battery is going to help prevent you from buying when rates are most expensive. So battery is a super, super cool piece of technology. I encourage everyone to at least consider it when they're looking into solar. And you guys, you would be really surprised, especially with the power agreement. It doesn't add that much to the monthly payment. So, if you love the idea of the peace of mind and you're thinking about solar, ask about the battery.
How much is the battery if somebody wanted to own it?
With the battery, and we use two different ones through LG as well as Tesla, the Powerwall. You know, through ownership, it's a solid 10 grand. They're expensive. And demand is high for them. It's demand is high for them. On the power agreement, it's anywhere between 25 and $50 a month. And so for a lot of people, knowing that, their food is always going to be cold and that they can always cook a warm meal for their family. And, if the power goes out, their kids can have lights and maybe watch a movie. For a lot of people, that peace of mind is easily worth $25 a month.
No, I agree. I think that's pretty awesome. The battery and I think there's a shortage of it right now, correct?
There are, yeah. So there's a few main companies that make them. Um, so and they're used all around the world for things other than solar. So yeah, so right now demand is higher than inventory. But eventually, kind of like with anything, we think it'll even out.
Yeah,
And the
got
one
it.
good thing about it too is with Sunrun, we have inventory on both, so it's something that's here. Battery technology has been around, my understanding, for over 10 years. It's in California we've incorporating it into solar for, I would probably say, 5 or 6 years.
Got it.
Yep.
So while you were sharing all of that, I was looking up my bill, and this is how much SMUD charges off and on peaks per kilowatt. Okay, Chi fams. Right now, it's not considered summer, so the off peak is 10 cents per kilowatt. Okay.
Which isn't bad, to be honest with you. Is not so bad.
Well, because we're not in summer yet, right? And
Right.
so it's gonna adjust when summer hits. So right
Yep.
now, 10 cents off peak. On peak, it's 14, almost 15 cents per kilowatt. So that's how much mud is charging. And if you go over to your right now, I think my Sunrun solar is like what? How much per kilowatt? I think it's like a couple cents per kilowatt.
I can't. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a couple years.
it has.
You may still be sub 10 cents.
Uh-huh.
You may be, you're probably not at 11 cents. But Chia, if you go on this Mud website, guess what your guess what your mid peak summer rate is right now?
How much is it?
Almost 18 cents. And then
Oh yeah, see.
guess what your peak is?
What is the peak? You tell
31 and a
me.
half cents. 31 and a
Mm.
half cents. Yep. Yep. So it's expensive. So a lot of people just love the idea of just knowing exactly what their electricity bill is going to be, especially in the summertime. A lot of people, it's hard to swing when one bill just doubles or triples because it's, a different season. So there's a lot of great benefits to solar for sure.
Yeah, I believe you. I've been saving. I say I'm saving right now, my current house, even though I need more panels. Right? So I need, but we're working on that, right, Kelly?
Oh, yeah.
Like
By the way,
I'm,
that is at no fault of my own. He's using more power, so
I'm using more power when, so I just need to realign the way. And my kids are older now, so electricity is through the
yep,
roof now.
yep, yep, it is.
But yeah, I'm saving like 10, 20, almost 30%,
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of
So
people ask when someone looks at me, after we're chatting for a bit and someone asks me, "Well, I don't get it." Or it seems too good to be true, or what's in it for you? Like how is the company still in business? And it's a very legit question. And the sun comes out most days. It's the cheapest form of power in the entire world. It's why really wealthy countries use it, why, poorer countries use it. You just need some technology and capture that sun. And it's super cool for sure. And that's one of the reasons I love what we do. We help people save. We add to their home, we give them peace of mind. We lower a bill, and then it's just greener, cleaner energy. And I think, especially in California, it may never be 100% of what we're doing, but it's definitely going to be part of what we're doing.
yeah.
Yep.
No, I think it's great. I think solar is the future. I mean, so many other third world countries are going solar, right? Because it's free
Tons,
energy, right? And
tons.
the US is super late, actually,
We're
So
so late.
like
You're right. Yep.
we are so late. But yeah, so Don said, is there annual maintenance? And I think you kind of mentioned it, right?
It's really as needed. For some people, when it rains, throughout the year, that's enough to wash the panels. For some people that live more remotely, perhaps it's dusty. Again, now with the ash, I definitely heard from people, hey, can I hose off the panels? There's ash on them, and the answer is yes, of course. But for the most part, there's really not much that needs to be done.
Yeah. Pretty easy stuff. Becca says she's being charged by PG&E. You don't have a SMUD bill? Oh, you're probably in that area where SMUD doesn't go to. Her peak partial kilowatt charge is 37 cents per kilowatt.
Yes, so she is
My
PG&E.
gosh.
PG&E rates are some of the most expensive in the country.
Yeah.
And so, when we in SMUD, and I used to be in PG&E too, but we in SMUD, when we think we have a high bill, people outside of the Sacramento area,
Hmm.
they've been hit really hard, and and their rates have been quite high for a long time. So, um, yeah, we do a ton of solar in PG&E, absolutely. And PG&E too, they experience more of the blackouts and the brownouts and stuff like that.
Now,
Yep.
for real, it's crazy, Becca. Thanks for sharing. But yeah, she's in Daly City and she owns
Yep.
a,
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, the PG&E is expensive.
Yep.
That's how it is. If smug can't go out there, it is expensive. Okay, well, so let's say somebody wants to get started with solar. It's their first time being a solar investor or owner. What are some of the things they need to consider before getting solar? Because I know that before Sunrun came out, they did an inspection on my roof, right? Can you talk a little bit about what the inspection entails?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when someone is interested, in solar and learning more to see if it's a good fit, there's definitely some things that we need to look at first. So, the main few is going to be how long do you plan on being in your home?
Mm.
If you think you're going to put the house on the market in 6 months to a year, it's probably not a great investment to make, just, in terms of getting your payback. Um, but so you want to kind of think of, long term where you're going to be. If you're not going to be in the home for a very long time, power agreement, that's great. It's no money down, it's easily transferable. You also need to take into consideration some structural stuff. How old's the roof? What kind of condition is it in? Do you have a lot of trees around your home? How much sun gets on the roof and stuff like that. So, I always encourage people, if you're curious and you want to learn more, call me, someone like me, but I'm happy to help. Call me and we can kind of look at some of this stuff, right off the bat to just, make sure, certain boxes are checked. And then when you're ready to move forward, before we would ever install anything, we're going to do a site survey where one of our technicians is going to come out, just like Chia was saying, and they're going to check, the electrical panel. They're going to check the roof. We now use really awesome drones, so we send
Mm.
drones on up to take a lot of photos. And then everything goes back to our engineering and our design team. And basically, they want to make sure that everything looks good so that we can meet what, the homeowner and the consultant, what they initially talked about. Yeah, that's really it. I probably made it sound way more complicated than it is. But once everything looks good and everyone's on board, we're going to do the permitting for you. We're going to do all the utility paperwork for you as well. So, we try to make it as easy on homeowners as possible.
And the number one question I get asked is, okay, how much is that gonna cost me? It doesn't
Yep.
cost you anything when you go with a power agreement. It don't cost you anything for installation, nothing. They come
Yep.
out, they do it all, and then you just get solar, and then you start paying your solar plan that was agreed. And everything's all done through DocuSign electronically and all that. It was so easy. You guys came out right away. So that's what I loved. I remember when I first told my wife about it. She's like, "How much is this gonna cost us, Chia?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's not gonna cost us anything. The installation's free. They come out, and in the moment it's on the roof, then we'll pay for it monthly." Sure, that sounds too good to be true. No, it really is the case.
Yeah.
So like, and I think, how long do you think that's going to be the case for? Because right now, like, because the US is so behind on solar, it's still not that, it's not a commodity yet, right? But I feel that might change to where, because now it becomes a commodity, people's gonna companies are gonna start charging for installations, I feel.
Well, Sunrun's been around for a long time. They haven't yet. Uh, who knows what the future, I don't know what the future holds, but it's definitely not the model that Sunrun is moving towards. That's the beauty of a power agreement. It's literally, it's a power agreement. So your first bill does not come or is not due until 30 days after the system has been activated and it's been producing power. So yes, so there's no charge for the installation or the equipment. What the homeowner is doing is, they're making a commitment, or whoever, owns the home down the road, to making that monthly payment for the power that it produces. But other than that, it's very much a win-win.
Yeah. Becca says, how much is financing and what's the interest rates on it?
Yes. So our financing is pretty incredible, to be honest with you. So when someone wants to own, we do partner with a financing company. Right now, we have a 10-year loan at 2.99%, but this past month, we actually lowered our 20-year loan to 1.49%.
And
And there's
that's
no lien.
fixed.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yep. Yep. So a lot of people who always wanted to own and they're like, I can't afford it, I can't do it. Um, it's more doable than you may think. And I always say,
But
get
then
the
that's for the
information.
loan. That's if they wanna own
They
it,
want to
right?
own
That's
it.
not the power agreement though.
Nope. 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 So this is just ownership. So, 20 years, 1.49%. There's no lien on the property. There's no prepayment penalty. So, if you want to pay it off in 10 years and 5 years, by all means do it. And then again, just like with the car, once it's paid off, it's yours, free and clear.
Mm.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
think
It's
you
pretty.
ever I don't think you ever brought that up to me a couple years ago when
We
we
didn't
first
have
met.
those rates we didn't have those rates when you and I spoke.
Uh, you doing something behind my back, Kelly?
Never. No, never. You know what, after the conversation, I will show as many options as the homeowner wants, but usually once you find out what their goal is and what's most important to them, it usually steers you automatically one way or the other. But, for a lot of people who want to own and they don't think it's feasible, it is. It is.
What's normally the criteria to get qualified for a loan through Sunrun?
Good question. We need a FICO score of 650 or above. Can't have any bankruptcies, any late mortgage payments. And they do look at your debt to income ratio. I don't know what the cutoff is. But the great thing about it is, you can always add on a secondary. The secondary signer does not need to own the home, so they don't need to be on title. Um, and if for any reason you can't qualify for the loan, let's pivot and look at a power agreement, because that is still going to save you.
That's true. Get
Yep.
solar quick because I'm telling y'all, I feel like it's gonna be a commodity one of these years, and that's when everybody's gonna switch and be like, nope, like it's high demand right now, so we're charging for the installations. I mean, look at the market right now. It's
It's
basic
great.
it's basic economics, supply and demand. That's why prices
Yep.
are so high. So yeah, but okay, let me go on to the next question. Okay,
Sure.
how durable are these solar panels? Have you ever experienced any of these panels cracking or breaking?
No. Again, I've been doing this 5 years. So the panels are extremely durable. Hail won't hurt them. I believe they're rated to like 100 or 125 mile per hour winds. So, once these guys are on there, they're not going anywhere.
Okay, that's good. Now, let's say you're doing a consultation with the interested homeowner, but they don't have enough sunlight. For some reason, they bought the wrong location and there's just not enough
Sure.
sun. Have you ever come into contact with a homeowner like that? What do you guys do for that? You guys start
All the
installing
time.
mirrors?
No, I run into this all the time. People really want solar, or they had it in a previous home, or their friends have it and they rave about it. Trees are awesome. They're just not awesome for solar. If there's not enough sun on the roof, between the home consultation and the site survey and all the software and the satellites that we use, we can get a pretty good idea fairly quickly if there's enough sun or not. Unfortunately, we have to say no to a lot of people for sure.
No way. What's the ratio?
Oh yeah, yeah, especially in Sacramento, city of trees.
You know what's funny? You remember when we first met and you're like, Chia, that big old tree right next to your house? If he could get rid of that tree, your solar would be producing way more. He finally cut it a couple months ago.
Really? Yeah, that
Yeah.
probably happened.
Okay, well, good to know. Man, that's crazy how sometimes you guys do turn down homeowners because it's just
All the
not
time.
feasible.
All the time. Yep.
What if they go install a bunch of mirrors up in the roof to where it shines sunlight onto the roof?
No, no. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Oh my god, that's crazy. That's sad. Okay, now do what would you say the condition of a roof needs to be in order for them to qualify the roof to install solar?
Yes. So where I'm not a certified accountant, I'm also not a roofer. So you know, the basics is, and a lot of times you can kind of look at a roof, or a homeowner knows, how their roof is doing. The most common type of roofing materials is going to be comp shingle or cement tile, and they'll last a really long time. Um, it kind of just depends on the wear and tear, how many layers you have, if there's any cracks or anything like that. Um, what we do though is that's why we do the site survey, where someone is actually looking at the roof, checking out the condition. If a roof for any reason, doesn't have, solid time left on it, in terms
Yeah.
of lifespan, we will come back and say, we highly recommend that you replace or you repair, these parts of the
Mm,
roof before you do solar. We do have a service where down the road, if you have to re-roof, 10 years, whatever, we will help you, we'll help remove everything, you re-roof, and we put everything back on. Um, but again, if the roof doesn't have, some solid time left, we're going to recommend you take care of that first.
got it. Now this will be the closing question, okay, Kelly? Because we're at 8 o'clock
We're
already.
done
So
already.
I told you it's gonna go by quick.
It did. It did. Okay.
We're having so much fun, right? I told you. But this closing question: if I get solar and I am selling, is that gonna be an issue with solar? If I, especially if it's a lease agreement or power agreement?
Yeah, so also a very good question, an important question. At Sunrun, we really are the type of company, we want you to be happy at day one, but we want you to be happy for years down the road, and even when you think that, you're going to be in your house for 10 years or that's your forever home, things may change. So what I tell all my families is if the house ever goes on the market, let me know and I will connect you to our transfer team. We have a whole department that this is what they do. And so it's a very, very, very easy process. Chia, have you ever sold a house with a sunrun system on it?
I have.
Yeah.
It's
Was
very
it easy?
easy. It was very
Okay, good.
easy. The borrowers or the buyers of that home just needed to get like a credit check, and then even if let's say their credit doesn't qualify them, they just gotta pay like a one-time fee of a couple $100, and then
Yep.
they're still able to buy the home with the solar on there. So
Yep.
the reason why I asked that question is because a lot of homeowners that do a power agreement,
They're
they're
afraid.
scared. Yeah, they're afraid because they're thinking,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, I thought I was gonna net this much equity, but now part of that's gonna go pay towards my solar. I didn't even think about that." And then like whenever I sit them
Yep.
down, and let them know that's not gonna be the case. Any buyer that comes in, we just gotta let them know that they have to qualify. If even if they don't, worst case scenario, they just pay a couple $100 fee one time, and then they could resume the payments of the lease agreement, of the
Exactly.
power agreement. So it
So
was super simple.
awesome. And that's what I love to hear. If the system is through ownership and it was purchased, then very easily we're just going to transfer over what's left of all the warranty stuff. That's awesome. If it is a power agreement, then we're just very easily going to transfer it over, just like Chia said. Again, unlike a solar lease, and lease and power agreement are often kind of interchanged,
That's
but
what I
they
thought
are
too.
actually two different things. So with a power agreement, there's not a lien on the property. We're just going to transfer it over. And the idea is too, is I always say, and to the realtors that I work with, or the people who are asked this question, you want your realtor to be marketing your home as a solar home. Especially considering that all new construction has to come with it. It makes your home more competitive. And, the idea is, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, would you like to buy this home? Oh, by the way, it comes with, greener, cleaner solar power that's also going to help save on your utility bill. Most people are going to find that as a benefit. And so, I encourage people, make that part of your selling package for sure. And then I get the
To
question,
that,
sorry.
I would say it depends on the solar company because there are other
Yeah,
homes where I've sold where it's part of a lien on the title or part of the tax, right?
yes,
And now some sellers, especially right now that have that type of solar agreement, won't pay for it and they will request the
headache.
buyers to pay for it. And it could be like again, $10,000, $20,000 on top of the purchase price.
Yep. All I can say to that is at Sunrun, we don't do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we don't do that. So yeah, so when I meet a realtor and they're like solar, like don't even talk to me about it. Absolutely not. It's usually because they've had an experience like that. And
Yep.
yeah, that would be a major headache for me as well. I totally get
Hmm.
it. Through Sunrun, again, we have a whole dedicated team that's they'll talk to, obviously sellers, realtors. I always like to at least get the contact information of the new homeowners so that I can just introduce myself. So, so they, really get the benefit of their solar and they know how it works and stuff like that. But yeah, I get that. And then the last question I get with this is, well, what if they don't want it? Like, what if they just don't want it? And in the almost 5.5 years I've been doing this, I've never had that happen. However, I'm knocking on wood because I feel like now that that's going to happen. Um, but because the realtor is going to be marketing the home as solar, if someone was super against it, they wouldn't be looking at the home anyway. I kind of compare it to a swimming pool where some people are going to say, yes, that's awesome. We love it. We want it. There's the other group of people that look at a swimming pool and say, never, like that will never happen. And they go look someplace else. But for most people, if you give them the option of getting solar electricity versus SMUD or PG&E electricity, let alone at a lower rate, most people are going to find that as a positive.
That's true.
Yep. Yep.
But that is all, Chi Chi fams. I want to thank all you guys for staying with us for a whole hour. We went over a little bit, but it was just a lot of information. I feel you guys all needed to hear from Kelly herself. And Becca wanted to reach out to you. So her information,
Yay.
Kelly's information is in the description box of this live stream. And again, I'm not taking this down. So if you guys want to go back and rewind this, you guys could do that. Just make sure you guys hit that like button and share this with some of your friends and family that might want to get educated about getting solar first because there are different types, but at Sunrun, this is how they do things, and I love it so far. I have solar on my home right now. I've had solar on my previous home, and I don't think I could ever buy another home without solar. That's all I'm telling you guys
Yeah.
right now. So yeah, if you guys want to reach out to Kelly, she does free consultations. Call her. She loves to talk. That's why she's here. So like, reach out to her. She's super chill, but I think I'm gonna close us out right here, Kelly.
Thank you so much. You're right. This was fun and I appreciate it. And
Hmm.
guys, if you just have questions or you just are curious or want some info, reach out. Reach out. I'm more than happy. I want you to learn about it. It's great. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yep, you're gonna be back for an update because I'm pretty sure there might be some new
Sweet.
stuff that goes on later that you might want to fill us in on. So you're gonna be back. I'll reach out for sure.
Sweet. And I'll get the dog out.
No, you gotta bring him on camera next time.
All right. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
all right. Well, you have a good night, Kelly, and bye bye, Chichi fams.